Why would you lie to the FBI? Why would you lie to the FBI? It was clear that Jennifer McCabe did not tell the truth, however you want to word it, to the FBI when they came a knocking on her door. Why would you do that? What does it tell us? But most importantly, what does the jury take away from that exchange? In this video, I'm going to go through not the entire exchange because it goes over 20 minutes, but I'm going to go through piece by piece some of the important pieces of Alan Jackson cross-examining Jennifer McCabe about the day when the FBI came over her house and she was not truthful. She was admittedly not truthful. She's not conceding it was a lie, but she's conceding she did not disclose the truth. Are we playing with words here? The bottom line is the jury witnessed it all. Jennifer McCabe is an important witness, probably more important for the defense than the prosecution, but important for both sides. So her credibility, her testimony, significant. And this was a piece of it. This was a slice of her testimony. Now, you may argue it's not the most important. However, what was exposed was that she was not being truthful, lying to the FBI, and the jury's got to be wondering why. I'm Vinnie Politan. Great to have you aboard. Lead anchor for Court TV. My show's on every night from 8 to 10 on Court TV, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. in prime time. The only guy on television doing 2 hours of live true crime. And this is what I do when I have time. It's my live stream. This is Vinnie Live.
Hey, get ready, get set, let's go.
It's true crime, streaming live, worldwide. It's Vinnie Live. It's true crime, streaming live, worldwide. It's Vinnie Live. Get ready. So post inside the chat. Get ready for the prosecutor hat. Get set. To like and to subscribe, let's go. It's time for Vinnie Live.
Fantastic. It's a Thursday. This is Vinnie Live. We are live on my Facebook page, on my YouTube channel, on my Twitch, on my X, and simulcasting on the Court TV YouTube channel. Great to have everyone aboard. Make sure you like the video. Like the video. If you're here already, just boom, hit it. Takes a second. Boom, hit it. Thank you so much. All right. Like I said, I do 2 hours of live television every night. And sometimes you misspeak as Demelza. Do you realize you called Karen John's boyfriend on TV? Okay, maybe I did. Like I said, it's live, folks. Thank you so much for watching on X. Appreciate it. Okay, so I've got the video to play for you. And I'm going to break it down piece by piece, little by little, maybe a lot by a lot. But I've got to bring it in first. Let me bring in that video. Let me bring it in, folks. 1 second. It's going to take me 1 second. So the significance is credibility is always an issue. It's always an issue in every single case. And here's what I learned as a prosecutor, as a young prosecutor. When I put witnesses on the stand and the jury believes they're not telling the truth for whatever reason, it's a huge problem for me. I learned that. It's a bigger problem when it's your investigators and your police officers, but any witness that you put up as the state, the prosecution, who has the burden to prove it beyond any and all reasonable doubt, and one of your witnesses is clearly not telling the truth and may not be telling the truth about not telling the truth, you've got a problem. So you have to acknowledge that. If you're on the side of Karen Reed is guilty, and there's a lot of people there, there's a lot of people on the other side as well. You've got to acknowledge that is a problem. And I've been doing this throughout the trial. Like, you can say, I don't like you anymore. I don't believe you anymore. Whatever. Like, I've been attacked, criticized, critiqued by both sides of this, because I'm calling it issue by issue, witness by witness, piece of evidence by piece of evidence, what helps, what hurts, what I believe, what I don't believe, what's a problem, what's not a problem. So if you want some analysis from someone who doesn't have a pony in the race, a dog in the game, then I invite you to listen to this video and the other videos and my television show when we talk about this case. But if you want someone who is going to, cheer for one side and is pulling for a result, then that you're not going to get that here. And I understand you go on YouTube and, there are some streams, everyone that's watching that stream, what they believe. And yeah, that's the freedom of choice. What I'm trying to do here is based upon my experience as a prosecutor and my experience in covering the nation's biggest trials longer than anyone else in the business. Anyone else in the business. No one's been doing it as long as I have been doing it. I've been doing it continuously through all that time. I've been covering crime and justice and the nation's biggest trials. Some people do it, then they go on, they do other things, and then they dip back in. No, this is what I've been doing. So that's how I analyze this stuff. That's my filter. I compare to what I've seen in other cases. I compare to things that have happened to me in the courtroom or things I've seen in the courtroom when I had colleagues trying cases as well. That's what it's based on, and take it for what it is. But I don't have a dog in the race or a horse in the race or whatever the saying is. Whatever the saying is, I don't know what it is. So today there's a problem. You're a prosecutor. You have the burden beyond a reasonable doubt. There's an expectation from the jury that your witnesses are going to be clean. And when they're not, like, I looked at this case, the biggest problem is Trooper Proctor. Your lead investigator's not clean in your case. They may not like him. I don't even know. Will the prosecution call him? I'm presuming they are, but they don't necessarily need to. But at one way or the other, he's going to end up in front of this jury, and that's a problem. I don't know if I've seen a case with a lead investigator who's been disgraced to that extent, and the jury still believed the prosecution case and investigation beyond a reasonable doubt. That's their biggest problem. So these other problems, like this McCabe FBI testimony, isn't as big as that, but it's another problem. And then if it becomes a pattern that there are problems with these witnesses being not their credibility questioned, but actual lying exposed, significant lying. And here this is not being truthful with law enforcement. Now, I'm saying the FBI, but that's another part of the equation here that's really strange, because I know, we all know it's the FBI, but the jury doesn't know, which is absurd. The absurdity of what's happening in that courtroom and hiding the truth from the people who have to figure out what happened. It drives me crazy. In this case and other cases, when the gatekeepers keep out facts that would paint a clearer, more full picture for the jury of what actually happened. And when they do this, it creates more problems. It actually creates more problems. Okay, let me get into this, because I've got to find it here. I just need a second to get the video over. Where is it? Okay, where did it go? I will find it. It's not there. Where did it end up? Give me 1 second because I have to find the video. I definitely have it. It's just a matter of where it is. 1 second. Ah, found it. Okay. I know where it is now. My apologies, but I barely was able to get on today. Every day's like this. And then I have to, here we go. Jen McCabe, FBI, bingo. Let's roll it.
You were contacted at your residence by these members of this law enforcement agency, correct?
Yes.
All right. Those law enforcement officers identified themselves as being associated with an agency that is not Massachusetts State Police. You understood that?
Yes.
And you understood that they were not involved with Canton Police Department either, correct?
Correct.
Completely separate agency, is that right?
Yes.
During the course of that interview, those officers informed you very specifically, Ms. McCabe, that it is a crime to lie to them, even during an interview, correct?
Yes.
You were aware of the subject matter of their interview, right? They weren't interviewing about a car you bought last year, correct?
Correct.
They were interviewing you about, basically, about what you're testifying to here, correct?
When I first spoke with them, the conversation was pretty vague.
But the subject matter, vague or specific, was about this subject matter.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, let's start with that. I want to start with that little piece right there, specifically. So what is the jury supposed to make of this? You know, you're hiding from the jury the fact that the FBI came knocking on our door. It's some mystery law enforcement agency. Is it the Canadian Mounties? Is it the county police? Is it the Secret Service, ATF, DEA, Homeland Security, like ICE? Who is going over her house? I don't know if they're going to put 2 and 2 together and figure out that it's the feds and it's at the FBI. They don't know that. Why don't they know that? Why aren't we telling them the whole truth? It's absurd. The jury has one job, and they couldn't do it in the first trial, which is get to the truth. In the first trial, the jury was not permitted to know where the ARCA witnesses, who hired them or where they came from. The experts, the accident reconstructionists, who were called by the defense but not hired by the defense initially. They were hired by the feds, by the FBI. But the jury wasn't allowed to know that. You know what the jury did as a result of that? They completely discounted, disregarded, and ignored their testimony. Some of the most important testimony for the defense was ignored because of a ruling not permitting the jury to know why these people were doing this accident reconstruction and who hired them. It was like this strange mystery. And now the same thing is happening in this part of the testimony. Some mysterious law enforcement agency is interviewing Jen McCabe, something related to this case. And what is the jury supposed to do with that information? This is an abomination on our system. Like, we bring these 12 strangers in, pay them a few bucks, interrupt their lives, put the burden of figuring out what happened in a red rum case, and we're not going to give them the facts. We're going to hide things from them and let pieces come out. And are they supposed to figure it out? Or are they just supposed to, oh, okay, yeah, some law enforcement, la, la, la. They want to know who. And there's no reason for them to not know who. It's part of the case. It's the truth. And the truth really is the only thing that matters inside the courtroom. And when you hide the truth from the jury, the truth doesn't come out. We hid the truth from the jury in the first trial about where ARCA came from, so they didn't even take into consideration the testimony of experts talking about the actual accident, whether or not it happened. That's nuts. Like, they just said, we don't know where it came from, having nothing to do with their actual credibility or credentials, but like, they just showed up. So we didn't know where they came from. So we ignored them. Are they going to do the same thing with this? Ignore this testimony? Like, shouldn't the jury know that the FBI knocked on their door and she did not disclose the truth to the FBI? Shouldn't the jury know that in judging the credibility of a witness? Of course they should. Of course they should. So, we're starting there. Now, Alan Jackson lays it out that if it's a material fact, whether or not this is a material fact that she is purporting to lie about, it's arguable whether or not it's a material fact, which would be enough for a criminal conviction for not telling the truth to the FBI. But the warning is there. Like, the FBI comes in and you talk to them, you got to tell them the truth. You could also not talk to them, by the way. If they knocked on your door, you don't have to talk to them. I mean, you can, but whether you did something, didn't do something, are not in the mood, don't have the time, or just don't want to bother with them, or you don't trust them, you don't have to talk to them. As a matter of fact, like, I don't know. I don't know if they knocked on my door if I would talk to them. Like, what are you here for? I don't know. I'm not going to talk to you. I don't know what your motives are. Let's continue to watch more of the video.
Actually, they walked up to my car.
They walked up to your car?
Yes.
Okay, that was the very first introduction, correct?
Yes.
At that point, they had not identified themselves, correct?
They didn't know.
All right, and at that point,
See, that's kind of creepy. If you're with the FBI and you're approaching someone at their house and you get out of the car, you should identify yourself immediately.
you told them that you were not Jennifer McCabe. They asked you who you were, and you said, I'm Nicole.
I thought they were like selling something, so I was like, oh no, I'm not the homeowner.
Fair enough, fair enough. However, after you said, I'm not Jennifer McCabe, you walked into the house, they then called you on the phone.
Yes,
They were
correct.
still sitting outside your house.
I don't know where they were, but they did call me.
They were close by.
I'm not aware.
Well, the call came almost immediately after you walked back in the house, correct?
I'm not sure how much time had passed.
Give me an idea. It wasn't an hour. It was
No, it was
5 or 10
soon
minutes.
after. I'm just not sure. I can't tell you where they were located. I'm sorry.
Okay. They told you that they would, at that point, they identified themselves as being law enforcement agents, correct?
When they called me, yes.
And they told you at that time that they were not with Canton Police. You knew at least they were not with Canton Police Department. They were not troopers with Massachusetts State Police, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And they told you that they would like to have an interview with you. They'd like to have a sit-down talk with you, correct?
Yes.
You told them that you would be willing to submit to an interview, but you needed about 10 minutes to get ready, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the next part I want to talk about. Number one, you don't have to talk to them, but she said she would talk to them. Number two, she said she needed 10 minutes. This 10 minutes becomes crucial. It's the crucial part of everything that is happening here. Those 10 minutes in this part of the cross-examination and what Alan Jackson is trying to establish, which is the lie to the FBI. It's about what happens in those next 10 minutes. But I can understand the initial lie about who you are. Some stranger outside says, "Are you the homeowner?" They don't identify themselves. I have a problem with that. If you're federal law enforcement, like, badge, identify yourself. Hey, we're so from the FBI. Are you Jennifer McCabe? Boom. Like, be honest. Be honest when you're approaching a citizen. It's kind of things are scary these days, and you also have to understand for McCabe being a part of this case. She had been approached by private investigators and others, so there was a sense of, like, I don't want to. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. So there's that part of this as well. So I understand misleading the people who are questioning you initially, like, some strangers, men in black show up. What are you supposed to do? You don't know who they are, and they don't identify themselves, which I found significant. But she says she needs 10 minutes. Now, what are the 10 minutes for? That becomes crucial in all of this. So let's get right back into it, because these 10 minutes are the important 10 minutes.
You ultimately did allow them into your home, and you did sit down for a formal interview with them, correct?
Yes, brief, but yes.
And it was during that formal interview inside the home that it was explained to you that it would be a crime for you to lie to them on any material issue, correct?
Yes.
During the course of your interview, your husband, Matt McCabe, came home. Is that right?
Yes.
As these law enforcement agents continue to question you, as law enforcement officers continue to question you at some point, you inform them that you did not feel comfortable with any further questioning and you suspended the interview, correct?
Yes.
Law enforcement officers asked you if you had contacted anyone in those 10 minutes when you indicated, I need 10 minutes to get ready, between the time they called you and the time that they showed up and came inside your house, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a key question. But the first part of this, which is important, is that the jury understands that she's doing this interview and then her husband comes home, they cut it off. This interview is over, which you are entitled to do, but how will the jury interpret that? Like, why isn't she talking? Like, the jury's not going to be told that Karen Reed never sat down for an interview with investigators. Like, that never happened, right? They're not going to hear about that because you can't hear about that. What you have a right to remain silent and cannot be used against you. So prosecutors can never go there and talk about Karen Reed not speaking. However, the jury now knows she sits down, answers a few questions, and then cuts it off. Doesn't make her look good, right? Now the air of suspicion is flowing around Jennifer McCabe, this law enforcement outfit who the jury doesn't know who they are. Weird. Comes over her house. They don't identify themselves. Then they do. Then they come in and they're talking something about the Karen Reed, John O'Keefe case, but it's not clear exactly what they're talking about. And then all of a sudden, she ends the interview. I'm not talking to you guys anymore. All right? None of that helps her credibility. Okay? That hurts her credibility. She didn't do anything wrong. She didn't do anything illegal by cutting off the interview. As a matter of fact, she never had to speak to them at all. She never had to let them inside her home. But it's the perception. It's the perception now, which is the exact reason why a prosecutor can't argue that Karen Reed never sat down and talked with investigators, because she's allowed to do that, but it doesn't make her look good. But that can't be used against her. Jennifer McCabe's not on trial. So this will, in their minds, be used against her. That she cut off the interview. Why would she cut off the interview? What is she hiding? Who were these people? What was the information they were trying to get? What is she not telling investigators? What does she not want to tell investigators? That's what I'm hearing here. All right, let's continue. Now we get to the 10 minutes.
You told them that you had contacted your husband, Matt McCabe,
Yes.
which is why he came home, right?
Yes.
And you told them that you had called Carrie Roberts before they interviewed you, correct? At that moment.
I'm not 100% sure, but if you have it, it seems like something I would do, but if you have it, could show me.
Absolutely.
Let me just make a quick comment because I see a question here. How do you think, this is from Sherry W., how do you think Jen did on cross yesterday? Compared to last year, it's completely different. Alan Jackson acknowledged it. I think everyone watching the trial acknowledged it, that she is coming off much better, much softer, less confrontational, less venom. Last year, she was angry. And I said this last year, she may very well have the right to be angry. But when you come across as angry on the stand, that's not good. It just doesn't help. How she's testifying now is much better. Because now she, by softening herself up and taking away the confrontation, it now puts the onus on Alan Jackson in his cross-examination to play the bad guy. It's not the witness who's like getting angry and mad. It's Alan Jackson who has to push the buttons, and that becomes a little risky. A little risky. I think jurors understand that's his job, but it's still, she's coming off much better this year compared to last year. Alan Jackson in his cross acknowledged that. All right, just wanted to get that in. Oh, by the way, Gringa, thank you so much. Vinny keeps an open mind. That's what matters. I call him as I see him. And thank you so much, Gringa. And there are problems on both sides. There are some good facts on both sides. But at the end of the day, prosecutors need more good stuff and a lot less bad stuff than the defense does because they have the burden in the case. Also, Michael Donahue, Vinny, she called them back and told them everything. Does that not count for anything? Well, she did call them back and told them everything. Does that not count for everything? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. The picture that is being painted here, Michael, in this cross-examination is that she's hesitating. She's not being forthright. She's saying something that's not true to law enforcement. And now she's in court with the same potential penalties for not telling the truth. Can they believe her? Not here, but beyond a reasonable doubt. Right? Because that's the burden they're going to put on the testimony if it's a crucial element in the case, what she is testifying to. And one of the things she's testifying to is the alleged confession by Karen Reed. And that's a significant fact. Significant fact. So thank you, Michael. It does count for something to rehab her. But like I said, I'm a former prosecutor. When I have witnesses who are not pristine, it gets magnified in the courtroom. Absolutely magnified, which is a lot of times why a lot of prosecutors won't put jailhouse informants in their case unless they absolutely have to. They try to avoid that at all costs because by definition, a jailhouse informant is not clean. He's another criminal or she's another criminal. All right. But thank you, Michael. Let's continue. All right, that was the end of that part. We'll get right now into the next one.
That's what I'm asking. One of the first two calls you made, your husband,
Right.
come home, there's law enforcement outside my door, I'm guessing is what you said, correct?
I don't remember my exact words now, but I did ask him to come home, correct?
And
Yes.
Carrie Roberts.
Okay. Yes.
You wanted to let Ms. Roberts know that you had been contacted by certain officers from a different agency, correct?
I was curious if they had already been to her.
That was my next
Oh,
question.
yeah.
You also wanted to find out had these law enforcement officers from this different agency contacted her, correct?
Yes, because typically if
I
you
just
enter
asked
our
yes or no.
town, she's.
Ms. McCabe, yes or no?
Oh, sorry. I was just trying to
That's
explain.
okay.
I'm sorry.
Is that why you contacted her to find out?
Do you see that? Do you see what she did there? And Alan Jackson cross-examined her. Did you get any coaching or anything? She said no. But right there, she apologized and said, I was just trying to explain. See, that's a much different demeanor than last year. This jury knows nothing about her testimony last year. So her testimony last year is pretty much irrelevant unless it's in conflict with testimony from this year and you get cross-examined on it. Her demeanor from last year, irrelevant because the jury will never see it, will never hear it. This is all they get. And this is much better than last year. Everyone has to admit, because Alan Jackson admitted it himself in cross-examination, that this is much better than last year.
If in fact they had contacted her before you, yes or no?
Yes.
And you also wanted to find out what she told them if she had been contacted by them, correct? That was your motive in calling her.
No.
So you just wanted to find out, had she been contacted?
Yes.
But if she had said yes, you weren't going to say, and what the hell did they say? What'd they ask you?
Well, I can't say what I would have answered, what I would have asked her, but I know I was calling to see if they had been there. Yes, that was correct.
That was your intent.
I called to ask her if they had been there. Yes.
So that was your intent, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Alan Jackson's making a great point, and her answer is irrelevant. What he's doing is planting a seed with the jury, saying, "Listen, this is what's going on," because it's a theme of the defense, and it's another problem that prosecutors have with Jen McCabe and Kerry Roberts. They admittedly sat down together and created a timeline and sort of exchanged notes, and they've admittedly been talking about this for years. It is the foundation of their relationship. They didn't know each other before all of this. So this is the one thing that brought them together, and it's the common denominator in their lives. So the fact that Kerry Roberts is the first one who calls, what Alan Jackson is trying to infer, say, listen, the feds are here. The feds are here. What did you tell them? I want to make sure we're continuing to get our stories straight. That's what Alan Jackson, that's what he's trying to establish here. Just through the question, the answer doesn't matter. Good cross-examination, the answer doesn't matter unless a witness really messes up. But the answer, when you're cross-examining someone, usually you don't get the Perry Mason confession from the stand, right? But what you do is you are telling your story through your questions. And that's what you want the jury to remember. That's what you want them to think about. Let's continue.
Your motive in calling Kerry Roberts at that moment before your interview was to ensure that your story would line up with her story, Ms. McCabe. Isn't that right?
No, that is not.
You wanted to find out if she had talked to these particular law enforcement officers and what she had told them so that your story could somehow align or it could inform how you responded to questions that they asked you. Isn't that true?
That's not true. We both know what happened. We don't have to have a story. There is no story. There's what happened, and that's it.
So if that's true, Ms. McCabe.
Again, her response here is not anger. It's not venom. She's bringing it down. She's bringing it down. This is what you want to tell your witnesses. And this is the way a defendant, I'm not saying Karen Reed's going to testify, but defendants in other cases, when they're effective on the witness stand, instead of when you're being cross-examined, you don't escalate that cross-examination. You go in the other direction. You make them look like the bully. You try to make them look like the one who is unhinged and out of control. Last year, it was the other way around. This year, it's much more even because of her improved demeanor.
You have no reason to call Kerry and ask her if she had been contacted by these law enforcement agents because it's just the truth, correct?
We're going through this whole experience together. We call each other about everything. That's nothing more than that.
So
I'm sorry.
Let her finish her answer. Go ahead, Ms. McCabe, you can finish that.
There's nothing more than me calling and saying, hey, did they come to your house? That's what we did when the media showed up, when Miss Reed's private investigator showed up. We just give each other the heads up, hey, somebody's coming. Because we're just like normal moms. We're not used to this.
And that's helpful.
That line, that's something you think about ahead of time, right? Like, I'm going to use that line. It's effective. Does the jury think it's over the top? That she's trying too hard to I'm just a mom? I mean, some may be skeptical. In this case, people who have chosen sides already will see it the way they see it. The question is, how will the jury see it? The jury who doesn't know Jen McCabe. The only thing they know about Jen McCabe is what they are seeing in the courtroom.
In making sure that the stories she tells are consistent with the stories you tell to different law enforcement agencies, correct?
No, we are not telling stories.
So let her finish. You said no what?
I said, no, we're not telling stories. We don't have to compare.
And if in fact what you were telling was just the truth, there'd be no reason for you to inquire about who's contacted her when. There'd be no reason.
There's no inquiring. It's like when you're when the ice cream truck was at the street next door and I'm saying, did the ice cream truck come? It's really that simple.
So You asked a question,
Not about the ice cream truck.
and now
All right. That's where I think she went one step too far, right? The jury's not, I don't think the jury's going to buy that. This is like an ice cream truck. We know it's the FBI. I don't know if some of the jurors have put two and two together, but when law enforcement shows up to question you in your house, it is not like the good humor man ringing his bells. She went one step too far there in trying to say, I'm just a normal mom. You know, this is just what we do. No, she should have said, listen, this has been a very intense experience. We've been approached by a lot of people we don't know. Like, to me, that would be much better than, oh, it's like the ice cream man. It's not like the ice cream man. That was not good. That was a potential problem because it's a line that you'll remember. It's a line that the jury will remember, that she said this was like the ice cream, because that's no, it's not like the ice cream man. It's not even close. By the way, thank you for everyone watching. We're at 7,000 total viewers right now on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, and Court TV's YouTube channel. Thank you so much. We got 7,000 people here. On the count of three, hit the like button. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Boom. Thank you very much. Let's continue.
They asked you, was there anyone else that you contacted in that 10-minute period before we got a chance to talk to you? Mm-hmm. And your answer was no, correct?
Correct.
And that was a lie, correct?
It wasn't a lie, no.
Was it true? Was it the truth or a lie?
It wasn't a lie.
Okay, so it was the truth. You had not spoken to any other person between the time they contacted you telephonically and you said, I need 10 minutes, and then they came in the door. During that arc of time, you didn't talk to anybody else or contact anybody else other than Matt McCabe, Kerry Roberts. Now you're testifying that was a true statement.
I can't answer that yes or no.
It's pretty binary. Had you talked, well, let me ask you this. In point of fact, you did talk to other people. You contacted others, in addition to Matt McCabe and Kerry Roberts, correct? Yes or no?
Yes, I did.
Okay, let's stop it right there. So Alan Jackson has framed it. You're either telling the truth or you're telling a lie. And she's saying, well, no, it's something else other than the truth versus a lie. The problem here is for me, is the window of time, right? The interview, she gives them 10 minutes. So however long it takes after that 10 minutes for them to ask her this question, but in that 10 minutes, she has made these phone calls. She's made, I think, 5 phone calls in 10 minutes, called 5 people in 10 minutes. And within 10 minutes of that, 20 minutes of that, whatever it is, it's back down to 2. And she's saying, when I said those are the only people I called, like she can't remember like 10 minutes ago how many people she called. This could be a huge problem, because there's 2 things about it, right? There is lying to law enforcement, and then there's lying about lying. Follow this. This is important. Lying to law enforcement in something that happened outside of the courtroom is one thing, right? That's bad, especially because it's law enforcement and it's about this case. So you're lying to them about who you called in this interview about this case. And now you're in the courtroom and in front of this jury, you are not admitting to the lie. You're saying it wasn't a lie, but it wasn't the truth. You're trying to do like what is here. You're playing with words. And to me, that's as bad as not being truthful with the FBI, because now you're in front of the jury. Right here, right now, you're in front of the 12 people whose job it is to judge you, because they have to judge your credibility, judge what you are telling them. Is what you are telling them the truth? Now they know that you told the FBI you called 2 people, but you called more than 2 people. And all this happens in a very short window of time. But you are not saying this was a lie. You're saying, no, this was not a lie. So is saying, no, this was not a lie, is that another lie? Is she compounding the problem right in front of the jury, which further undermines your credibility for everything else? That's a problem. You can't sit here and say that's not a problem, because it is a problem. Breenan and 2 potted plants, thank you so much. The 911 call needs to be played at the correct speed. Prosecution sped it up. We've all heard the original from last year. That's interesting, Breenan. Thank you for bringing that up. I didn't notice that, but I will take a closer listen to that and see and what we can do. I'll even put it on maybe a timeline, see if one does go faster than the other. That's kind of strange. That makes no sense why you would do that. That's kind of bizarre, but thank you so much for the tip. And we've got Trish. I think the more hurtful thing by far is her lying to the jury and expecting them to believe she forgot about the other call she made. Trish, you're right on. You're right on. Now you're compounding the problem. Like you could say, I lied to him because all this stuff was happening. I didn't know what to say. I didn't want to get the other people in trouble, whatever the reason is. But now you're not owning up to it right inside the courtroom. That's problematic. Thank you, Trish. I agree. And Mary Vinnie, her testimony is like Wendy Adelson lies. Interesting. In that case, the Adelson case, Donna is scheduled for June. She's trying to get it pushed. There's a whole bunch of sealed documents right now in the Adelson case. We're trying to uncover what exactly is happening, but that trial may very well follow this one. Thank you, Mary. All right, let's get back in here.
So when you said no to the answer, did you contact anyone other than Matt and Carrie? That would be, by definition, Ms. McCabe, a lie. Correct?
No.
So there she is, like just denying that it's a lie. And, you know, it's like, what is your definition of a lie? Does a lie have to be knowingly? Do you have to knowingly say you're not telling the truth? I would say, yeah, for a lie to be a lie, you have to know the truth and say something else. So let's listen to her explain.
Let's go through them.
Okay.
You contacted your husband, correct?
Yes.
You contacted Carrie Roberts, correct?
Yes.
You contacted Peggy O'Keefe, correct?
Yes.
Then, Ms. McCabe, you contacted the district attorney's office, correct?
My witness advocate.
The district attorney's office.
My witness advocate who works for the district attorney's office.
Thank you, Ms. McCabe.
Yes.
And you also himself, correct?
Yes, my brother-in-law.
For some reason,
I
your
know.
brother-in-law, who's the 30-year Boston police detective, correct?
Yes.
And on whose lawn John O'Keefe was found dead or dying. Objection.
I'll allow that.
Correct?
Yes.
For some reason, you did not want these officers to know that you had communicated specifically with Brian Albert, the homeowner, just before you talked to them, correct?
No, incorrect.
There was some reason that was important enough for you to lie about that, even though you had been admonished that it's a crime to lie about that to those officers, correct?
Incorrect. I didn't lie to them. I had forgotten who I had called.
And that's the explanation. I had forgotten. Krista, limited edition. If you're telling the truth, you don't forget. The story never changes. It's disgusting what Jen is doing. So if you forgot, by definition, I would say it's not a lie. But are you lying about forgetting? What is the jury to take away from this? And again, I get to the problem is the incident with the FBI, who the jury doesn't know is the FBI, happened in such a short time period. Like, I need 10 minutes. And you go inside, you call 5 people. You call 5 people. And then they ask you, did you talk to anyone? I talked to 2 people. How do you forget that? Maybe you're really nervous, but the plain I forgot, I don't think it's going to sit well with the jury. I really don't. And it becomes a problem. So the question is, how much of a problem is it for prosecutors if the jury is not trusting Jen McCabe's testimony? Will they discount all of her testimony? Will they just scrutinize it a little closer and look for corroboration from other places? We'll see, because she has some important information about the tail light, about I hit him. Let's see. So on the live stream, the Facebook stuff I don't necessarily get, but I do get notifications about what's happening on Facebook. So thank you to Cheryl Sabin Hobbs, who sent some stars. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, because the stars don't pop up on my software. Laura Delaney sent stars and had a question. Isn't it possible that his death was just a terrible accident? Why do some people think it's red rum? It doesn't make sense to me. Well, that's what the first jury came to, that conclusion, that it was not red rum, and they were debating whether or not it was an accident. They were trying to figure out whether or not Karen Reed's SUV struck John O'Keefe accidentally. That's what the discussion was at the end of the day with the first jury. So it is possible. And actually, that was the original charge against Karen Reed before they upped the charges. And my own theory on why they upped the charges, there's a reason for everything, is because the victim is a police officer. That's why I believe they upped the charges. And that's when everything escalated. And that's when the defense suddenly started to uncover things and become very, very adamant in their defense of Karen Reed. Sheila Angelo also sent stars. Thank you, Sheila, on Facebook. Appreciate it. Again, I don't see some of those things that pop up on Facebook on this particular software that I'm using, so I can stream everywhere at once. But thank you so much. Let's see who else is on the check-in. I'm just going to try to get current here and then get into some of the comments, questions, etc. This is Frida or Frida. If prosecution loses, who will they charge? No, it's over. If the prosecution loses, the case is over. It's over. There is no, we're going after someone else. It doesn't work that way. If the prosecution loses, they will not charge anyone. It will be game over. There could be a civil suit. There could be a wrongful death suit that could be filed, a civil case. And the difference between a criminal and civil case, it's not about your liberty. It's about money. And the defendant in a civil wrongful death case does not have the right to not testify. You can't take the fifth. So you will have to be deposed and you will have to testify at the trial. So if there's a not guilty and there's a follow-up civil case that does not settle and it goes to trial, well, everyone's going to be testifying in that one. Dr. Magoo, thank you. I have a hard time that the first time she faced with an unfriendly officer, his first instinct is to lie. One more time. I'm having a hard time that the first time she was faced with an unfriendly officer, his first instinct is to lie, says Dr. Magoo. I'm not following that 100%, but I think you're believing that the officers would not lie. I think that's what you're saying. Michelle L., she wasn't coached. She is the coach. That's an interesting take on all of that. Oh, by the way, folks, we're getting close to 8,000 viewers here on the live stream. We are simulcasting on the Court TV live stream today, which is always exciting. Thank you so much to the folks over there. And we're banging the gavel for Seb Atkinson, a new member of the YouTube, the Court TV YouTube membership program, which is awesome. If you're not a member, you should check it out. Lots of great privileges that come with membership over on the Court TV YouTube channel. Glow T. The feds are watching. They're watching this or they're watching the trial. What are the feds watching? I think the feds are always watching us, right? They're listening on our phones. We did find out that they were spying on Americans. Yeah, we got to keep an eye on the feds. They have a lot of power that needs to be checked. So thank you so much, Glow T. Still scrolling through, Don't forget tonight, 8 o'clock. Tonight we're doing two hours on Karen Reed on the trial. It's going to be a fascinating 2 hours. First hour, we're going to take a look at the big differences between the 24 trial and the 25 trial, who it's helping, who it's hurting, what it means. Then in 9 o'clock, we are going to take a look at Jen McCabe, Kerry Robertson, and Karen Reed. We're bringing in our body language and behavior experts. And we're going to talk about whether or not what they are saying is believable, is trustworthy. What do we see? We've got the experts coming in to analyze that on Vinnie Politan Investigates. 2 hours tonight. 2 hours on the Karen Reed, John O'Keefe case. So be sure to tune in on Court TV, your front row seat to justice. All right. Oh, while I'm looking for more folks here, folks, don't forget that we've got some great merch. I'm not wearing it right now, but I got great merchandise, including these great allegedly T-shirts and sweatshirts. Not this one. This is a different one, but some other great items at the Vinnie Originale True Crime Merch Shop.
Hey everybody, I've got something for your body. You can wear it by yourself or with Frankie Valli. It's true crime merch from Vinnie Originale. It's true crime merch. It's true crime merch. It's true crime merch from Vinnie Originale. From Vinnie Originale.
Got some great items there, including for the summer, the beach towel. Did you see the beach towel? Where is it? I have it. Where is the beach towel? I think I have it. There it is. There's the beach towel. It's kind of the outline of a body. Awesome. Awesome. Everybody will be jealous at the beach this summer. All right. That's the Vinnie Originale shop. All right. Michelle L. I don't think Brennan is fond of Jennifer McCabe over-explaining. I think less is more. I think, but everyone, the demeanor much better second time around. And that's why, generally speaking, it's usually advantage prosecution second time around. You clean up the mistakes. You clean up the problems from the first time. And that was one of the problems first time around. So that is one of the big differences that I'm seeing. All right. Emily Parkinson gifted 5 Court TV memberships. Thank you so much, Emily. Awesome. Good stuff. It's really a great community over there on the Court TV YouTube channel. And for folks who are over there or haven't made their way over to mine, don't forget to like and subscribe my YouTube channel as well. Come on over. All right. Dr. Magoo is back. I think it is worse that she can't remember 10 minutes ago, but you want me to believe you can remember January 29th clear as day. Oh, that's a great line for closing argument. Thank you, Dr. Magoo. Great line for closing argument right there. And Foghorn Patty. Vinny, you're in for a big letdown being a free Karen Reed. Facts. Did you listen to the beginning of the show? It's amazing. So, but thank you, Foghorn Patty, for taking part in the conversation. I don't agree with your comment that I am FKR. This case has put those of us covering it in a strange position, right? So if you watch my show normally, I wear red ties on verdict day. And other than that, I usually wear blue, pink, and purple. That's my family of colors that I wear. I don't wear green, I don't wear orange, I don't wear brown. And I wear all solid ties. With this trial, I can't wear pink and I can't wear blue. So every night I have to wear purple ties. Otherwise, if I wear a pink tie, screenshot, Vinny is free Karen Reed. Blue tie, Vinny is anti Karen Reed. That's what happens. I get it. Like, you're all entitled, but don't think you know my opinion. All right. I'm just trying to, how far behind am I? I'm still 10 minutes behind here. I'm still 10 minutes behind. A lot of scrolling. Lola, the good dog. Maybe the feds were undercover in an ice cream truck outside her house. Where's your timeline, Jen? That needs to be put into evidence. Probably wouldn't be admissible as evidence, a timeline. It could be used to cross-examine you if you say something that's different than your timeline, if you had a copy of it. But the timeline itself would likely not be admissible evidence unless it was kept in regular business records. Maybe the feds, what's your timeline as you put in evidence? Thanks so much, Lola, the good dog. Yeah, I think the ice cream comment, not good. It's not good because it was kind of silly because everyone understands the seriousness when law enforcement is asking you questions. Navy Pearl. Hey, Vinny. Hey, Navy Pearl. How's it going? Thank you for your service. If you're in the Navy, I'm not sure if you are, but I'm assuming that your name is Pearl and you're in the Navy. Maybe not, but thank you so much. Jennifer Sube, thanking everyone for their support. Of course, Jennifer Sube, part of our great mod squad.
Order in the chat. Order in the chat. Don't dare attack. We've got order in this chat. The mod squad is on the job, helping us to keep it clean. The mod squad is on the job, always so nice and never mean.
And a big thank you to our mod squad, Gen X, Frankie Figs, Jennifer Stube on YouTube, and Ashley Bouchard in the wild, wild west of Facebook, keeping law in order. Thank you all so much. They're the best in the business, folks. Johnny Knoxville, Jen is a liar, pants on fire. Johnny Knoxville, not believing Jen McCabe. Well, I mean, she's mincing words between a lie and I forgot. Like, you forgot it's not a lie. So when she says it's not a lie, if you believe she forgot, then you'll believe that it wasn't a lie. That's the way that falls. Okay. Mr. Burt Wayne, why lie, Jen? What's your opinion, Vinny? Thank you, Mr. Burt Wayne. Are you related to Batman? So why didn't she? I don't believe she forgot, by the way. And I don't know how much at that point was being made public that the feds were investigating this. Because at some point, the local news uncovered that there was a federal investigation. And I just don't know the timing between the feds going to interview her and word leaking out that the feds were looking at this. If the feds were looking at this, right, and she knew that that was happening, like everybody kind of knew that this investigation was going to happen or was undergoing, then she called to give a heads up to everybody. That's what I believe. It was just a heads up. Listen, heads up, the feds are here now, so get ready. They might be coming to talk to you. In those 10 minutes, I don't think she can get her story straight, but I think she also wanted to know whether or not they had been interviewed. And then I think the obvious follow-up to that would have been, oh, what did they ask you? What did you talk about if they had been there? So, and maybe what should I do? You know, should I talk to him? Should I not talk to him? That's why I think this happened. This is a step, the Green Wool Witch. If I were on the jury, I'd have reasonable doubt because of McCabe's lies, the iPhone temperature, and the dog. But conspiracies are really hard to pull off. If I'm on the jury, I'd have reasonable doubt because of McCabe's lies, the iPhone temp, and the dog. And I guess the marks on the arm. But conspiracies are hard to pull off. Yeah. Framing someone is difficult. Now, the question is, like, the defense doesn't have to prove this cover-up, but what they need to do is make it a plausible explanation, something that is reasonable. Like, it's a reasonable alternative explanation for what happened to John O'Keefe, which, you know, that burden is this much. Beyond a reasonable doubt takes us here, right? Beyond a reasonable doubt. You lower this a little bit, and what's above here, that's all the defense has to do. That's a reasonable doubt right there. Let's say this is beyond a reasonable doubt. Right now, what's up here? That's the reasonable doubt. That's all the defense has to prove it. That's the only standard that they have. The prosecution has everything down here. They've got to prove all of this. The prosecution just has what's up on top. That's the difference. Big difference. I'm trying to get to all of these. I try to work through all the super chats. I don't want to leave any of them out. LJ, lawyers talk about a witness being impeached, but in your opinion, do you feel jurors actually know what impeached truly means? They may or may not know what impeached means, but what they do know is what their gut tells them. Like, do I believe this witness? Do I trust this witness? Do I trust everything that they're saying? So even if they use that word impeach, the credibility, I think they get it. I think every juror gets it. P. Shea, are you going to Mass? You're on my bucket list. Yes, doing the show live down the block from the courthouse all week long. 2 hours. 2 hours. Live show in Dedham. Come on down. Come on down. We go live at 8. And it won't be this week coming up. It's the week after, the week of the 12th. The week of the 12th. Discerning 8, member for 11 months. Yes, join Court TV membership. We have a lot of fun. I love them all. It's a fun group. It's a fun group, I told you. All right. Lindsay G. Per Jennifer McCabe, Karen Reed was parked at the flagpole. How did she reverse to 24 miles per hour and hit John O'Keefe at the flagpole? Did he project forward towards the flagpole? Also, per JM, tire tracks prove she couldn't have hit JO as they're presenting. This was, I think, another big problem in the cross-examination is that she said she saw tire tracks but didn't see John O'Keefe. She saw the tire tracks in the street just in front of where John O'Keefe was on the lawn, but didn't see him. That's a problem, right? That's what I call a common sense problem. Common sense tells me if I look out the window and I see tire tracks, I'm also going to see the body laying on the front yard. So that's another big problem. Thank you, Lindsay G. And that may be a bigger problem than this. But this just goes to general credibility. Like this goes to all your credibility because the defense is going to allege that you're lying in front of the jury. Kathy Guidry, liar, liar, pants on fire, slap perjury charges from the higher. There won't be perjury charges, but I understand what you're saying. Perjury charges are very rare for testimony at a trial. Very rare. So rare. So extremely rare. Perjury charges for what she said to the FBI, if she followed it up with a phone call, then that sort of cleans up the allegation of perjury. And it may not have been a material fact. Who she spoke to may not have been perceived for perjury purposes a material fact in the case. Some great conversations taking place. Okay. Did you watch the Sally Jesse Baez episode yet? No, I didn't. I will have to. But I did not watch that. Thank you for the heads up. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of things popping up here, so I've got to get to them. I've got to get to them because I'm running out of time. I'm running out of time. And the reason I have to go is I have to get ready for my show tonight, 8 to 10 on Court TV, 2 hours on this story, on this case. This is from Francis Candle. Thank you, Francis. Will the jury see the FBI report that Jackson was quoting? Will it be redacted? Doubtful. Doubtful. Reports generally don't go into evidence. They can go in as a business record exception to hearsay, but generally the content of the report can go into evidence. Like someone can come into court and testify about what they found in the report, but the actual FBI report, doubtful that it goes into evidence. Generally, they do not go into evidence. Police reports, FBI reports, things like that. Michelle L. JM said the car repairman was at the house. Why? All right, you got me. I don't know why. Vinnie and LYK. LYK. The lawyer you know. I was thinking of someone's name, but the lawyer you know are fair to both sides. They respect the law. I appreciate you, Vinnie. Thank you, Navy Pearl. I mean, so people who live stream all come from different backgrounds and perspectives, right? And I think when they use that background and perspective, I think that adds to, I think, the value of their live stream. So if you're a former investigator, right, like Duty Ron, or if you're a body language person, or if you are maybe a reporter, or maybe you're someone who's directly connected to a story and you're live streaming about it. The perspective of the person, the background of the person on the live stream is the value of the live stream. So all live streams have different value, different perspectives, different tones, and I think different objectives. And mine is not to convince you one way or the other, but to give you my actual analysis of true crime stories, mysteries, investigations, and trials. My real expertise is trials. Tanya Vincente, Jen did amazing. I just remember, I know I said I hit him, that Hank showed from her documentary. Defense is doing great job of diverting. The clips are a big difference in trial number 2. Big difference. Thank you so much. Nurse Kim. Thank you, Nurse Kim. Officer John O'Keefe wasn't hit by a car. I don't know what did happen, but Karen didn't hit him. Hope to see you soon. And the burden is on prosecution to prove that he was hit by a car. So if they don't meet that burden, there's only one verdict that the jury should render, which would be not guilty if they don't meet the burden. That's the way the system is set up, and it always comes back to that. L'Enfant, much worse in this trial, lying with a grin and niceties. Wow, now Kerry is JM. Bev called her Mrs. McCabe. She did call Kerry McCabe. I remember that. And JM is KR now, and Jen McCabe is Karen Reed. Her hair color, her haircut style, clothes, and Canoni called her Ms. Reed. Yeah, both of those things happened. It was like, oh, wow, this is, wow. Now, if she is much worse in this trial from your perspective, the jury only knows what they see. So is what they're seeing really bad, really good, or really neutral, right? For us who have seen both trials, you think she's worse because you think she's putting on more of a facade, right? So you believe you saw the real Jen McCabe in the first trial, and here in the second trial, this is the fake, the faux McCabe putting on a facade. But you only know that because you saw the first one. This jury didn't see the first one. So what do they think? Would they recognize that this is not real? I don't know. I don't think they would, because they don't have the same point of comparison that you have, that I have, that we all have. Thank you so much. Great comment. Kathy Guidry back. A family tree with job role description would help so much regarding all involved at the crime scene. And I think that's something like we've tried to do on TV to a certain extent. And I think it would likely be more important for the defense to do, to explain everything to this jury in a visual way. I think prosecutors are doing this much differently. I don't know if they're calling everybody that was there. The first trial, if you did anything, you were called to the stand. This second trial may be much more streamlined. So a lot of the people that were there may not be called. They may not be called because you don't need them to prove the elements of the crime. You can paint the complete picture if you want, but they tried that first time around and it didn't work. So why call them again? My guess is they may not. But if they all end up being called, or there's testimony about everyone that was there, it would be good perhaps as a visual aid during your closing argument. You couldn't use it as evidence, but as a visual aid, have the names and the places and the times laid out for the jury, either in a PowerPoint or some sort of a chart or something, would be very helpful, Kathy. You sound like you want to be a lawyer. All right. If I missed any of your super chats, my apologies. There's just so many of them. Sue Forte, I still think this could have been a terrible drinking accident. That was the original charge in the case. That's what the first jury was thinking about. That's what the first jury was debating. So you're not alone, Sue. You're not alone at all. And Josie Lou and Company. Josie Lou and Company. Hank asked Whiffen regarding John's cell location and whether health data had stopped at different times except during the 12/29/44 from Jen McCabe. Is he afraid to know the health data had stopped and Lexus Bluetooth had disconnected free Karen Reed? This part of the case, for both sides, whatever their arguments are, needs to be made extremely clear in their closing arguments, because as the testimony comes in, it's a lot to take in, a lot of data, timelines. It's got to be crystal clear. And I think whoever is more clear in their closing argument will have a huge advantage, because clarity transfers to the jurors that are on your side. You give them a clear explanation for why you believe guilty or not guilty, and the facts backing it up. You feed that to the jurors on your side so they can use it when they're arguing with the other jurors during deliberations. So what you're saying here, Josie Lou and Company, I believe is critical this time around, but both sides have the burden of making it very, very clear what they believe this data proves. Binging crimes, not cookies, which is smart, very smart. I cannot get past her not running into the house to make sure her sister's was okay, especially after she didn't answer my calls, not buying it. Okay, one more time. I got to process this because there's no names here. I cannot get past her not running into that house to make sure her sister was okay. Okay, so this is Jen McCabe, especially after she didn't answer my calls, not buying it. That's, to me, that's a mystery too, why no one in the house with all these people in front didn't come out, especially since one is a member of law enforcement. And all this is happening in front of your house and you don't go outside. That's a little, as they say in Massachusetts, bizarre. That's a little bizarre. Thank you, binging, crime, not cookies. All right. I'm trying to wrap it up because I'm clearly out of time. I'm clearly out of time and I get ready for the show tonight. But Lisa Whitenair, hey, Vinny, just want to tell you, I got my allegedly shirt and my tangent shirt and the mug. The mug is awesome, but my family laughed at me because I never drink anything hot. So I just run hot water in it to see the pictures. That's right. We have a tangent. Do I have it here? Yes, I have one here. This is a great Vinnie Originale true crime merch. This is a mug that when you put a hot thing in it, it reveals the faces of me, Alan Jonesy. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're enjoying the true crime merch from the Vinnie Originale shop. That is awesome. Dr. Magoo, again, I think everyone knows when they started receiving federal grand jury subpoenas and they crazy Michael Morrissey letters. Yeah. So they may have known. They may have known that this investigation was happening, which is why I think she made the 5 calls. I agree, Magoo. All right. Jordan Ballantyne. Matt McCabe was the Celebrate guy for his police department. Wow. He changed the search time of 2 Google searches, but not 2:27 a.m. search. Deleted. That's interesting. That's interesting. That puts him in on the conspiracy. And that would be important to get out in front of the jury. Thank you, Jordan. Navy Pearl again. Last question. Do lawyers pick a jury based on education and what they do for work? I noticed the last jury had many educated people. It's a variety of things, and it depends on what the issues are in the case. They tend to stereotype people to a certain extent. Generally speaking, the defense wants people who are more skeptical. In this case, people who would be more skeptical of the government and what fits that profile in that part of Massachusetts. What type of people are more skeptical of the government? So I think they probably do a thumbnail sketch like that for the defense. Prosecutors want law and order people. They want, people who believe in law enforcement. Typically, it's Joe Lunchbox, I call him, right? Joe Lunchbox. But it could be different in that area. But it is, each case is different based upon the issues in that specific case. And this one has a lot of issues. So there's a lot of nuance in all of it. And it's not really selection. What it is you're eliminating people you don't want. You don't get to actually pick, I want that one, I want that one. It's that. This one gone, this one gone, because you're allowed to challenge a certain number of them. Linfon is back. Do you know how hard it is to get traction to take off with speed in reverse in the snow and stay on the straight and then stop without continuing to slide? Those marks would have been on the grass. It's a great point. My guess is the accident reconstruction guys will probably bring that up. I think they have to bring that up. By the way, folks, thanks so much for all the super chats today. Amy's positive pathways. We hope the jury didn't see. She remained calmer on the stand so far, but old Jen came out a few times, but we know she lied to the FBI and also Kerry lied. And lying is the ultimate problem for any witness. A prior lie, but a lie in the court that the jury believes is a lie in the court is the biggest problem of all. Your analysis is so helpful and appreciated. Thank you, Gringa. Lisa Warner, love you, Vinny, and your lives. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going fast. Jeannie Lynn, I think Allie took Chloe out of the house that night. Lost dog story doesn't jive. I think it was a cover-up. It explains Life 360 data lie as well. I think that's the biggest thing that the hurdle the defense has is getting through all that. All right, we're out of time. We don't even have time today for the blood sugar game. We don't have time. That's it. 8 o'clock tonight, Court TV. Thank you to my Mod Squad. Great chat. Thank you for the super chats, everyone. It is so appreciated. That's it for now. 8 o'clock Court TV, 2 hours on the Karen Reed trial tonight, body language, and then the 6 big differences. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, one time, Karen Reed, innocent until proven guilty. The Commonwealth has proven they are guilty beyond a reasonable and proven doubt. And I don't even like Karen Reed, says Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Thank you so much. All right, that's it, folks. Have a great night. And as always, don't forget to hug the kids.
Say goodbye. Thank you for watching Vinnie Live. We'll be back, but I don't know when. We hope that you will watch again. Vinnie Live. It's Vinnie Live. Whoa, it's Vinnie Live. Thank you to our awesome mods. Thank you for those super chats. Please hit the like and do subscribe. Let's do it again on Vinnie Live. Now before you go, just one more thing. Please post below, say anything. Vinnie Live, it's Vinnie Live. Whoa, whoa, Vinnie Live, it's Vinnie Live. Whoa, it's Vinnie Live. Now before you go, just one more thing. Please post below, say anything, Thank you, God bless you. We'll see you again. Thank you, God bless you. We'll see you again.